Math 2, Unit 3.1. So today we are talking about congruent figures. What does congruent mean?
Same size, same shape.
Very good. Same size, same shapes. Okay, if you go and look at this figure on page 121, they're talking about even though sometimes two figures might not look right, they can still be congruent. And that is because figures can slide, they can flip, they can turn, they can rotate, and they'll still be the same. Is that clear? All right. So at the bottom of page 121, we're talking about congruent polygons, and when they are congruent, the pieces of them are the same. Correct? Now, one thing for me, because sometimes when I see all these letters, it is a little bit confusing. And so one of my suggestions to you is that they're telling you that something is congruent. I like to transfer the letters from one figure to the other, and so it's right there and very obvious which letters go with which letters. For example, what letter would I end up writing with A?
E.
Very good. What letter would I write with B?
F.
Good. D? Good. And then C would be G. So over here, when it says that line AB is congruent to EF, do you see how E and F are with A and B? So it's very easy to see what's going on. And when you're having to write these statements, it's much easier to write them when you have it there. Okay. Most of this is already written in your book, but can somebody read this out loud for me? Or I can draw a stick. Anybody want to read for me?
I don't want you to draw a stick.
Okay, here it is.
Do the same thing?
If you really don't want to, I might pass, but Lily, will you read for us? Oh, right here on the board. Can you just read from here?
Congruent statements. When you write a congruent statement for two polygons, always list the corresponding vertices in the same order.
Okay, stop. Okay, this is super important. And in your book, if you see something kind of similar to this, I want you to either write it or highlight it or underline it. All right, continue.
You can write congruent statements in more than one way.
Okay, stop. This is also super important, is that you can write them in more than one way. Okay, keep going.
Two possible congruent statements for the triangles at the right are
No. Okay, so notice here, and again when I'm talking, you're not. Okay, so see how they told you that ABC is congruent to FED. Now A and F are in the same spot. If you go over here, do you see how A and F are in the same spot? So basically all that's saying is, it doesn't matter which order you write them in, but if you write it as ABC, you need to make sure the A matches with whatever it's supposed to match with on the other triangle and is in the same spot. Thumbs up or thumbs down? We get it, we don't get it. Okay. Ready to move on? Okay, you're going to turn your page to page 122. Okay, we do not have time to go through every single example that you have in your book. Okay? So if you go down, do you guys see where this is? Practice number 1. Yes? Okay, so builders use the king post truss for the top of a simple structure. Okay, so think about, you have your arrow, your triangles, if you guys ever go to some cabins and stuff, or even some houses, okay, that is called a king post truss, how it's being built. Okay, in this truss, they have told you that triangle ABC is equal to triangle ABD. So now they want you to list the corresponding parts. What I'd like you to do right now, and you can talk in your groups, is how are you going to move these letters? How do these letters work so that you have all the letters on just one triangle? So if I'm moving everything to just this triangle, what letter is going to go with A, what letter goes with B, and what letter goes with D? Okay? You have about 30 seconds there.
A would go to A. C
It was down there, and I was like, where did this go? Where did all my information go? Okay, so, Serena, can you tell me the different parts? So what's going to match with A? It could be the same letter. A, good. What is going to match with B? Good. And then what is going to match with D? I didn't mean to give you the answer when I pointed to that right then. Okay, perfect. Now we're going to write all of our corresponding parts. Okay? So, I'm going to write a line, AB. I'm going to give you about 5 seconds to think about it, and then I'm going to pull a stick to tell me what the second side of that is. So, Nadine, what is congruent to AB? It is good. And so you know how if I'm doing this AB right here, what is congruent to it? Also AB. Okay? So we're doing our line segments there. So AB, thank you, is congruent to AB. So do you guys see how line AB is on the left triangle and it's also on the right triangle? Okay? Does anybody remember also kind of what that property is? Reflexive. Very good. Okay, so my next one I'm going to write segment AC is congruent. Again, I'll give you about 5 to 10 seconds. Think about it. And stone. What is congruent to AC? Very good. AD is correct. Okay, and my last one I have is BC. And BC is congruent to Brandon Starr. Which one? Very good. BD is correct. Besides segments, what else is congruent in this triangle? What else have we not talked about yet? Very good. Angles are correct. Okay, so same thing. We're going to write each of our angles. Now, the only angle that is by itself where I can just use a letter is which one? C. Do you see how C and D, they're kind of separate off to themselves, but do you see how A, it's like with here and here. So if I say angle A, I could mean this angle, I could mean this angle, or I could even mean the whole angle. And so with those angles, we need to use how many letters? You have to use 3 letters when you're talking about angle congruence. Okay, so the first one, I have angle D. I'm going to do this one. And see how D, I know specifically is D. There's no question about it. Okay, what is it congruent to? Juliana. Perfect, angle C is correct. Okay, the other angle I have is, I'm going to label it as angle CAB. Okay, do you see how you start with this letter? A is always in the middle, so I went CAB is right there. So we're trying to find congruence to CAB. Tanner.
ABD?
No.
Oh wait, oh, it has to be the same order.
Yes, same order.
DAB.
Good. DAB is correct. And do you see how it's helpful? So see how C and D are written together? I don't even have to look at both of the triangles. Since C is D, I can write D here. And then next was A. Oh, it's A. And then B is B. So do you see how writing the letters can be helpful? Also, I want you guys to feel safe in here. Do you think it's okay to get answers wrong?
Yes.
Definitely. Okay? And what is good about answering things wrong? The object is to learn from it so that you don't make the same mistake when it comes time for the test or quiz or whatever. Okay, so even if you get something wrong, it is okay. Do not feel bad. Just learn from that. Okay? All right, next one. So I have angle ABC. So I'm going to give you a minute. You write it down. Not actually a minute, but. And then I'm going to pull a stick. And I'm okay if you check in with your partner. Make sure you have it right. Okay, Taylor, what'd you get? ABD is correct. Oops, I just didn't write it correct. ABD. All right, does anybody have questions on what we just talked about here? Okay, moving on. Okay, we're skipping down to the bottom of page 122 where it has got it. And it says, suppose that triangle WYS is congruent to triangle MKV. If measure of angle W is 62 and measure of angle Y is 35, what is the measure of angle V? Okay, think about this. What would be your first thing that you should probably do when trying to solve this problem? Okay, what do you think, Caleb? Okay, you are going to add stuff, but before even that, I think it's always a good idea to draw a picture of what they're talking about. Okay, so let's go ahead and draw a picture. Do I have a volunteer of somebody that would like to come up here and draw the picture for me? Remember, anytime you come up and do problems up here for me, you can earn a candy. Okay, Caleb. Fernando, yeah, come up. You have to put all the information into a picture. So you're going to write what it said in the problem, draw a picture. Bryce? Okay, come on up. Okay, everybody else should be drawing these pictures and writing in your books.
So I just use a pen?
Anything you want, yep. Okay, so I should see you guys drawing a triangle. If you already have the answer, I don't mind if you raise your hand and I'll come by and check it. Good. Okay, so what are we trying to find right now? I don't want you to do all the work, but. Okay, so it says that we're trying to find what angle V is. Can you put a little marking by V on what we're trying to find, Bryce? Okay, so we're trying to find this angle right here. Okay, now they told us that these triangles are congruent, correct? So what matches with that in the other angle?
The same one as us. S.
The correct answer is S. S and V are the same. How do I know that? Well, remember how we have to write the letters in the correct order? And so do you see on this how V is here? So in that same spot is S. It had nothing to do with the way they're drawn or the way they look. You want to look at where it is in the statement. Okay? So, what do we know about triangles?
That equal up to 180.
Very good. All triangles equal 180 degrees. If you don't remember that, make a note to yourself. All triangles equal 180 degrees. Make notes right all over your book. Okay, it's going to be nice because you have everything in one spot. Okay, so solve this. Okay.
You want me to? Up here as well?
Yes.
Okay.
And again, if you have your answers, I'll be walking around and checking your work. Perfect. Good. Perfect. Good.
83. Power in the light. I'm not in a club. The lines are too long. I didn't want to wait in the line.
All right.
wait in the line.
Good job, Bryce. Thank you.
All right.
You can have candy. So Bryce added 62 plus 35. He got 95. Or sorry, not 95. 97. And then he took 180 and subtracted 97 to get an answer of 83. So the correct answer, and I like how he put, I might even add just measure angle V equals 83 degrees. Make sure you're very good at labeling your work, okay? Any questions? Very nice, thank you, Bryce. Okay, moving on. My picture here is not great. Yours in your book is better. You're on page 123 now. I'm going to give you a minute. Okay, read that. Find the answers for 3 and 4. Once you have your answers, check in your groups and see if you agree. And I'm going to just be walking around. Okay, remember right there, it's already told you that A, B, C, D, that figure, is congruent to E, F, G, H. Remember that things match up, so you're matching up letters, okay? All right, and you should be giving me a number answer. They're wanting to know what is the length, what is a degree, okay? Okay, this one is correct, this one is not. Okay. Do I have a volunteer that wants to come up and talk through this problem? Does somebody think they can explain it well? I'm only going to take a volunteer for these. I'm not going to make anybody come up here. Okay, so here we go. AD. Do we see right here? Here is A to D. Also notice here, A and D. So what is in the same spot as A and D? E and H. Here is E, here is H. On EH, they tell us a distance. What distance did they state right here? So that means that AD is also, and I would like you to include measurements, and it says 335 feet. So my answer is 335 feet. Okay, now when I was walking around, a lot of you didn't do 4. Okay, so let's talk through 4, and I'm going to give you about 20 seconds maybe to solve it on your own, but we're looking at DCB. So I go over here, here is D, here is C, here is B. So we're talking about this angle right here. Again, D matches with H. So here's H, and then C matches with G. Okay, so I'm looking at that corresponding angle. So what should be my answer for number 4?
325.
Look in your books.
325.
It should be 128 degrees.
Oh, you're going by degrees.
Okay, if you're not seeing what I'm seeing and you need me to help you, please raise your hand because I can come around and show you on your books.
Well, I get it.
Okay.
Because it's obtuse.
Last year I had this
Somebody else have their hand raised? All right. Anybody else need me to come show them? Okay. You guys make sure you're asking questions, okay? If you are unsure, ask in your group, talk to me, okay? All right. So this says, is triangle ABD congruent to triangle CBD? And if it is, justify why it is. In your groups, I want you right now just to talk about why you think yes, they are congruent, or why they aren't, and why you can give that reasoning. Okay, talk to each other.
They both go right in up.
Okay, I like when you guys are fighting about math, just so you know. Okay, first thing I want to ask you about, so we're going to come back together. What does it mean when you have a single line like that on your triangles? What does that mean? Okay, so in case you don't know this, I just want you to write it that, like, I'm trying to explain this in English. So, single line on two different segments means they are congruent. Okay, if you don't know that, write it so that when you look back at this, that will remind you, oh yeah, if they each have a single line, that means they're congruent. If you don't remember what congruent means, what does congruent mean?
Same shape, same size.
Okay. Now, that is not enough to make two triangles congruent. Like them having one side doesn't make them congruent. So there has to be more. Does anybody see anything else that we know about these two shapes? That means congruent. Okay, good. We're talking about the shapes though. So they're asking us, are they congruent? Does anybody know anything else about this figure? Cam? They do form an equilateral triangle. How do you know that though?
Right angles instead of triangles.
But we don't know for sure. They didn't tell us the box.
They just look like it.
They look like it, which I know, but that's not enough information. There's something here that you guys haven't told me. What is
They
it?
don't have a line on the bottom.
They don't have a line on the bottom. What is it? Yes. Caleb, you're amazing. Okay, see right here, DB? We could actually put, and I'm going to put like two little lines there because it's different than the single lines, but that would mean they're congruent. Do you see how DB belongs to this triangle? But DB also belongs to this triangle. So they have another same side. Okay? So what I want you to write down right now is that line DB is congruent to line DB. And how do I know that? What property is that?
Reflexivity.
Good job. And if you have two sides in a triangle that are equal, that means that the third side also has to be equal. Because all triangles are 180 degrees. And if you have two are the same, the other also has to be the same. So once you know two are the same side, then it's a side, side, side. All three of them are the same.
Is that equilateral?
Yes, also an equilateral triangle. Very good. Okay. We are starting to run out of time. So we are going to talk kind of quickly about these, if you could actually see them. Okay, this first one right here on top. Are those congruent?
Yes, they're two.
Yes, we can actually see that they have three sides congruent, right? Because it gave us we know that these two sides are congruent. We know that these two sides are congruent. And we also know that
These two angles are
the angles are congruent and they're sharing that line. So by reflexive property, we know those are also equal. Nate, we're still taking notes. Why is your book not open? Okay, so this answer is yes, they are congruent. We kind of talked about all the reasons why. Now, we're not going to worry about justification right now. We talked through justification. Okay, next one. Are those congruent, yes or no? No, not even. Oh, and actually it doesn't even say congruent. It says equal. No. Okay, not even close. There are not three corresponding sides. You guys, I still have 3 minutes. Please don't put your stuff away. Thank you. Thank you, Bryce. Okay. Okay, then we go on to talk about congruent angles. Notice two lines, that means that those angles are congruent. One line, those angles are congruent. Okay? They gave you a proof. You need to go back and read it. Okay? I was going to have you do a proof on your own. But instead, you get to do your homework. Okay? And again, your homework is page 127 to 128. If you look, in your book, here's 127. You're starting at 15, and you're going to number 24. Is that a ton of homework? No. Can you do your homework in your book? No. I don't want you ripping out pages. You need to do it on a separate piece of paper.